to cross to Blade Nzimande, the Minister of Higher Education. He's giving a briefing.
I welcome Dr. Philip Mjwaka, who is DG of the Department of Science and Innovation, who kindly agreed when I said I think it's important, since I'm responsible for both departments, that on such important occasions, both departments need to be there. The panel that is here on my extreme right is Aruna Singh, who is our acting Deputy Director General for our TVET branch, Technical and Vocational Education and Training branch, in the Department of Higher Education and Training. Next to her is Dr. Randall Carlson, who is the Administrator of the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, and Dr. Philip Mjwaka, the DG of the Department of Science and Technology. On my left, Mr. Gwebs Konde, the DG of Higher Education and Training Department, and Dr. Dai Parker, who is the Deputy Director General responsible for university education in the Department of Higher Education and Training. Now, Ishmael, I must clarify this, that I'm Minister of Higher Education, Science and Technology. That is the formal title, responsible for two departments. One is Department of Higher Education and Training. The other one is Department of Science and Innovation. This normally causes confusion, so I need to explain that. The ministry is science, is higher education, science and technology. But the department, the one, is Department of Science and Innovation. So that we don't get things mixed up. Let me greet all who are here, chairs and CEOs of our entities who may have joined us here. If any of the vice chancellors and TVET college principals, representatives of students, the trade unions, most importantly, members of the media who have joined us here, thank you very much for responding positively to our invitation, because without partnership with you, we won't be able to communicate this important information. Firstly, the purpose really of this press briefing, primary purpose, is to communicate to you opportunities in the post-school education and training sector, and part state of readiness for the academic year 2020 in the wake of the matric results. Firstly, I would like to congratulate the class of 2019 following the Minister of Basic Education announcement of the 2019 National Senior Certificate exam results. I would like to particularly congratulate all those who will be joining us in our various post-school institutions, the public universities and our TVET colleges. The 2019 National Senior Certificate overall pass rate stands at a new record, as Minister Motshekga announced, of 81.3%, a 3.1 percentage points improvement from the 78.2% achieved in 2018. You can see, DG Mjwaka, that I'm trying to be scientific now, because people normally say this is a 3.1% increase. It's wrong. It's incorrect. It's not a 3.1. It's a 3.1 percentage points increase between 78% and 81%. Now, further analysis of these results, they show that the number of candidates with bachelor passes stands at 186,058. For our purposes, bachelor passes mean those who qualify to enter university and do a degree. Some get bachelor passes, they prefer to do diplomas, but they qualify to do a bachelor's degree. And the number of candidates who passed with a diploma pass is 144,672, which means they qualify to do diplomas in our university system and TVET colleges. And the number of candidates who passed with what is known as a higher certificate entry is 78,984, which means they qualify to do what in our system are known as higher certificates. They are usually one-year programs. Now, if we analyze further, we are analyzing this now from our standpoint. In this instance, as Department of Higher Education and Training, what does this mean in terms of the opportunities that we have? Of the 2019 passes, 121,179 achieved 30% or above in mathematics, and 77,751 achieved 40% or above. What this means is that in most bachelor degrees programs that require mathematics, like engineering, medicine, etc., students who have got lower than 40% in mathematics won't be accepted in those programs. Unless, of course, they may have exceptional results in other subjects. In the sciences, your BSc normally, that as we refer to simply, you won't be accepted if you have got lower than 50% in mathematics. The worrying thing for us is that in 2019, the actual number who passed with 40% or above in mathematics was lower than the number in 2018. The number in 2018 was 86,874. In 2019, it's 77,751, which means it's a drop. Now, the overall number of spaces then that we have in the university system for 2020 is 201,041. However, universities will be expected to enroll within a 2% range of this figure. So the actual numbers after registration could be up to 4,020 enrollments more. I hope this is clearer. It could go up to 205,000. In other words, the number of spaces we have of first-time entrants in our universities. It is also important to note that the audited data for 2018 shows that of the first-time entering intake, 21% of students enrolled for certificates, 24% for diplomas, and 55% for degrees. This is aimed at just giving you an idea in terms of past statistics, what the distribution is likely to be, how many will register for degrees, bachelors, how many will register for diplomas and certificates. The certificates would mostly be foundation-type higher certificates that students who received bachelor's or diploma passes but did not get the entry requirements for their program of choice could enter into. For example, someone could have gotten a bachelor pass but with 35% in mathematics, but wants to do a program that requires 40% or 50% in mathematics. Instead of going for a repeat, would then enroll for an appropriate higher certificate to be able to correct this. I would also like to take this moment to equally urge all learners who have not passed their matric not to despair, but instead to explore and consider other options, including the Second Chance Matric Support Program and other post-school education and training opportunities. We'll be outlining some of them here. On university education, many of those who have met the entrance requirements for university study will be pursuing degrees, diplomas and higher certificates at one of our 26 public universities. It is important to note that entrance requirements into university studies is linked to academic achievements in the National Senior Certificate. While the minimum requirements to achieve a bachelor's diploma or higher certificate entry pass in the National Senior Certificate is set in policy, individual institutions and programs set specific entrance requirements. This means that a person with a bachelor pass may not necessarily meet the requirements for entry into particular degree programs. This is usually influenced by the academic demands and specialities required in various programs and or number of spaces available. In most universities, as far as I'm aware, you can't be taken for medicine unless you have got A in both maths and physical science, for instance. So that's what we are trying to explain here, that there will be additional requirements by universities for particular programs. And also it's because of demand sometimes that then the entrance requirements are upped because there aren't enough spaces in those particular programs. In 2020, our 26 public universities will provide access to approximately 201,042 new entrants, as I have said, wishing to pursue their studies across all general, technical and professional fields, including business and management, science, engineering, agriculture and technology, humanities, social sciences, the arts and education. I need to point out that the new enrollment plan for universities for 2020 to 2025 has just been completed, but that's not a subject for today. Dr. Parker. We will be able to at some stage talk a bit more about this plan going forward. All universities were required to consider their enrollments in terms of the fiscal realities and constraints and to plan realistically, making sure that the enrollment numbers targeted resulted in the optimum number of new students entering the system for the first time in 2020. Being fully supported through available infrastructure and sufficient qualified lecturers and academics, and within the constraints of the funding available for bursaries for poor and working class students. The enrollment plan provides details of the enrollment targets for all fields of study, and specifically for those scarce skills fields that support our country's growth, such as engineering, sciences, life and physical sciences, animal and human health sciences, and teacher education. In 2020, of the 201,042 new entrants, approximately 66,764 students will be enrolling in the following areas, which we highlight there. You can look at that yourselves. Universities have been requested not to over-enroll in 2020 to ensure the appropriate infrastructure and human resources for the numbers of students in the system, the quality of teaching and learning, and the sustainability of the university system. Since the tragic loss of life at the University of Johannesburg in 2012, most institutions have discouraged walk-in applications, and we have supported them as a department. We would like to put this on record. We are dissuading walk-ins, given this experience that we have had. That is why also we take this opportunity to urge all South Africans to work cooperatively with us to address this problem in the manner that I will outline, rather than to want some of them to cause disruption, whilst they know that they won't take responsibility if there are any fatalities that actually emanate from that. As a caring government, we are following the processes I will outline because we are concerned about things that are done orderly and also to save lives. Now, we have rather focused, instead of walk-ins, on encouraging prospective students to apply early and on time through our Apply Now campaign, which runs every year from March through to September in conjunction with our CATA Career Development Services. We are therefore confident that most students who are intending to enter university or college in 2020 have applied to the institution of their choice before the closing date. Now, let me talk about what we call the DHET bursary scheme for students from poor and working class backgrounds. This is NSFAS, in simple language, the National Student Financial Aid Scheme. Our commitment has been to support as many academically deserving undergraduate students as possible that require financial assistance. In 2018, government announced substantial new funding to support poor and working class students from families earning up to a total household income of 350,000 rands per annum into universities and colleges. The new funding was introduced as a bursary for first-time entering university students into the system in 2018, and in 2020 will enter its third year of implementation. The bursary is being phased in over 5 years. Students who qualify for funding based on the financial criteria must register for a funded qualification at a public university or TVET college in order to receive funding. Any student that qualifies and accepts the funding to study must accept the conditions of the funding provided to receive their funding. Now, on the 2020 applications in NSFAS has received a record-breaking number of applications by the closing date of November 30, 2019. More than 543,268 first-time ever applications. The year before it was 428,929, which means the applications are up by 26%. These were received from applicants across the country, with majority of the applicants submitting applications online via the My NSFAS portal. Applicants include those who were in matric in 2019, learners in grade 10 to 11 intending to further their studies, and those intending to further their studies at the TVET colleges, out-of-school youth, returning or continuing students without NSFAS funding in prior years. We must say this, it's not only those who have finished matric last year who qualify for NSFAS. It's much broader than that. After a significant number of applications have been processed, 430,000 applications have been approved for NSFAS funding. I don't know if Medias of Media have got this statement that I'm reading. Do you have? Yes, so they must correct that 359,000 figure. It's now 430,000. A total of 281,639, that is about 52% of all applications received thus far, are SASSA beneficiaries, are social grant beneficiaries. We are proud of this because it means government system is able to ensure support for the poorer sections of our community, right from birth till attainment of a qualification in a university or a college. It's very important. The success rate in applications is due to an extensive outreach campaign, partnerships with both local and provincial governments, and the private sector. We must welcome the fact that premiers from various provinces, together with their provincial departments of education, have greatly assisted and supported NSFAS in reaching out to most rural areas in various provinces. The National Youth Development Agency, the NYDA, has also made their facilities available for NSFAS applicants to submit both online and manual applications, as well as submission of the supporting documents. NSFAS has launched a project in partnership with the Department of Basic Education that aims to provide supplementary NSFAS content or information to grade 9 to 12 learners while they are still at school. Our outreach program continually shows a relatively high number of learners still know very little about NSFAS. Hence our focus in strengthening and expanding the outreach program. Just under 50% of applications have been received from social grant beneficiaries. So just under half apply from social grants recipients, and 52% are approved of the social grant recipients applicants. The personal details and social welfare status of all applications have been validated with the Departments of Home Affairs and Social Development. This is a very important advance in terms of creating an integrated government and an interconnected government. This is a major improvement also in NSFAS administration, as communication of funding decisions prior to the commencement of the academic year will allow students to enroll at relevant post-school institutions without having to pay upfront registration fees. Put differently, all NSFAS qualifying students do not have to pay upfront registration fees at universities or colleges. The fact that for the first time NSFAS is able to say, you qualify, it means therefore when you go to register, when you have been accepted, you have got proof to say, I don't have to pay registration. It's also a great improvement in the system, because before you would have a number of NSFAS qualifying students being asked to pay registration fees. That we have eliminated now. Whoever does that is breaking the law. Most funding decisions for the 2020 applications have been updated on the My NSFAS portal profiles. Applicants have received SMS redirecting them to the online portal to see the latest status update. Students declared eligible are not required to pay registration fees, as I have said. Following a high number of students being disqualified for funding in the previous year, the administrator has introduced a new layer of quality assurance to review all applications before they are disqualified. A review process is done for all those students who are disqualified in the first round. A total of 30,632 are currently under assessment. From the total number of applications received, 30,000 applications were incomplete or may have outstanding or incorrect supporting documents. Now, this is significant because it's down from the 130,000 at closing date. These are very significant improvements, by the way, in NSFAS that sometimes get lost when those who are able to make a lot of negative noise with negative energy, these things get buried. We are making a lot of progress in addressing the education needs of the working class and the poor in our country. Applicants with incomplete applications have been contacted by NSFAS over the festive season and as receiving the required documents from them, as well as receiving the required documents from them, their applications will be processed for funding decisions as and when we receive the required documents. I hope this makes sense. Right, some more statistics for the benefit of the public and of course through our media. Some statistics on NSFAS eligible students for university and TVET enrollment. Students become NSFAS funded once they pass the NSFAS eligibility criteria, as well as NSFAS being in receipt of proof of registration for an approved course at a public institution. Now, it's important to explain this. You apply to NSFAS and it's indicated whether you are approved, you qualify, or not. But in order to receive that NSFAS funding, you must have been accepted at an institution. The fact that NSFAS indicates that you qualify does not mean you will automatically get that money. You have to be accepted in a university or a college. Because this is not a social grant in that sense. Though it is a social grant of a special type that is actually meant for education.
It's investment.
Which is an investment, yes. When we analyze application statistics according to institution of choice, there are still more students who prefer universities than TVET colleges, with those preferring universities being 453,157 and those preferring TVET colleges being 90,111. To support the ongoing registration at TVET colleges, where it is expected to have influx of walk-ins, NSFAS has deployed a team of support staff from the 13th of January 2020 who will work with the colleges to assist them with NSFAS-related issues, especially for late admissions. TVET colleges are slightly different in the manner we handle them at the moment because of some of the challenges in backlogs and lack of capacity to be able to deal with this. We can't do that with university because universities, all of them, have got much better capacity because they have been dealing with NSFAS, by the way, for a much longer period. We only introduced NSFAS after 2009. Largely to the TVET colleges. So we still have these challenges. Now, on retaining students, at least more than 212,000 returning university students are declared eligible for NSFAS in the 2020 academic year. Now, these are students who are continuing. Ishmael, in future it may help, although I'm not doing badly, I must say, to write the numbers in full, because it's an African disease generally, inability to read numbers. I'm not doing badly at all, but sometimes, I won't mention people who have had some boo-boo, because they quote me also that I made some boo-boo as Minister of Transport. More than, just to repeat, 212,000 returning university students are declared eligible for NSFAS. This is for the first time ever that NSFAS students are declared eligible before registration. This is very important, because normally we were doing this either during registration or just after registration. That's creating lots of problems. We have cleared these problems now, which has eliminated some of the hurdles of fee registration by those accepted at institutions. The TVET returning students unfortunately still have to be processed later in the month, as NSFAS is working with the TVET college principals to determine whether they meet the criteria for academic progression. The reason why we do this, NSFAS has got criteria for continuing benefit from it. You have to meet certain minimum standards for passing. That's why we want to say here, loud and clear, students who have failed and do not qualify for NSFAS can't be funded. Because if we were to do so, we will actually be reinforcing a wrong thing. And also will be depriving students who are capable of doing better from getting assistance. I think it is that important that as a country we are clear about this. We're a country with values, and we're a country that wants to assist working class and poor students. On student housing, which we admit is one of the big challenges that we face, and the reason why, as we have said before, this becomes a big challenge is that since 1994, this government's main achievement has been to significantly increase the intake of particularly university students. And that huge intake, which is a huge achievement, has not been matched by the requisite infrastructure because of budget and other challenges. However, we are doing something about this. Through the Student Housing Infrastructure Program of the Department of Higher Education and Training, we aim to develop large-scale student housing projects at universities and TVET colleges in the coming years. The goal so far of the Student Housing Infrastructure program is to provide 300,000 new beds at the 26 public universities and 50 public TVET colleges over the next 10 years. Now, this plan is our minimum. I am still, as minister, going to be knocking even harder at other doors in order to increase this. But what we have in the bag is this 300,000 beds over the next 10 years. The program has succeeded in raising funds to supplement the department's infrastructure funding and has forged partnerships with a range of entities in both the public and private sectors. We currently have partnerships with the National Treasury, the Development Bank of Southern Africa, and the Infrastructure Investment Program for South Africa, amongst others. Large projects comprising of 7,273 new beds are currently being developed at, for example, Nelson Mandela University's 2,000 beds, University of Fort Hare is 1,437 beds, Sefako Makgato Health Sciences University is 2,000 beds, Valley University of Technology is 1,836 beds. The next set of projects will provide 12,000, that's much more immediate, 12,448 new beds. That's at Northwest University is 1,728 beds. University of Limpopo is 3,500. University of the Western Cape is 2,720. University of Zululand, it's 3,500. And King Hintsa TVET College, 1,000 beds. The projects in the pipeline where feasibility studies will be undertaken in 2020 are the following. Cape Peninsula University of Technology is 2,150 beds. Central University of Technology is 1,000. University of Johannesburg is 2,000. Walter Sisulu University is 3,000. Lipalale TVET College is 1,200. And Northlink TVET College is 1,500 beds. From 2020-21 onwards, the Student Housing Infrastructure Program Management Office will prepare a pipeline of projects each year, funded by both the public and private sectors, to unlock the investment required for the program. We are still using private providers for student accommodation because we don't have enough university or college-owned student accommodation. That's why I would like to call upon those private providers of student accommodation not to exploit students through exorbitant rent. And I intend convening a meeting in the coming weeks with some of the major private providers of student accommodation to discuss this matter of rent and other related matters, including the quality of the accommodation they provide, as well as the safety in such accommodation. On the Central Applications Clearinghouse, prospective first-time entry students who have applied for spaces in a university but have not been able to secure a space in their institution of choice will be referred to the Central Applications Clearinghouse for assistance in finding another space available in the post-school education and training system. Also, students who did not apply to any institution can also utilize CATCH for referral to potential spaces. That's all I want to say on this for now. This is electronically based. If you look further down, we have provided the website as well as an email, and also CATCH can be accessed through toll-free call center 0800 356 635, or you can send an SMS, even call back. Please call me back at 49200. Let me move to technical and vocational education and training, because I'm concerned our statement is long, but we don't regret that because it's time now to provide maximum possible information. The mandate of the department is to develop a skilled and capable workforce that can contribute to inclusive growth path. Central to achieving this mandate is also ensuring that students get access to and succeed in our TVET colleges, thus acquiring intermediate and high-level skills. TVET colleges play a pivotal role in addressing South Africa's skills needs and cater for a wide spectrum and growing numbers of students. These colleges have flexible and diverse course offerings, ranging from full qualifications to short courses, occupational and skills programs that includes learnerships and trade offerings. A few colleges offer higher certificate qualifications in collaboration with universities. These refer to the higher certificates that I was talking about earlier, which are also a category in the passes of those who have been doing matric. Some of those programs are offered by universities through TVET colleges or in collaboration with TVET colleges. While education is an apex priority of government, technical and vocational education and training needs to be the apex of post-school education and training. Ideally, that's where we should be having more students. Much more than at university. It should be in TVET colleges. Because of what these TVET colleges provide, as we explained there, including diversified programs. And we are also focusing on improving what is offered there in terms of relevant curricula, management and governance and so on. We will continue as government. We are committed to grow the TVET colleges to become institutions of choice. In this academic year, 226,685 new entrant opportunities will be provided by TVET colleges. That's an important figure. Of which 156,800 opportunities will be available for students interested in studying towards a national.
We've lost that particular communication there. We proceed. The state-owned South African Airways urgently needs government to provide the 2 billion rand it promised the airline last month. According to a senior union official, SAA would have to suspend some flights and delay salary payments if it doesn't get